Madam Chairman, and it is a pleasure, Ms Harris, to serve under your chairmanship today. And I beg to move that this House has considered business confidence. Sustained economic growth is the only route to improving the prosperity of our country and the living standards of working people. So intoned the Labour manifesto published over 114 days ago ahead of the general election. And I'm sure if not all of us across this House accept this basic and fundamental premise that this is what ultimately funds our vital public services, which are crucial to all our communities. Reducing inflation, giving business confidence to invest and deliver growth was a hallmark of the outgoing Conservative government. After a difficult number of years affected by the pandemic, the important for all members of Parliament to be business champions for our communities remain. And may I thank every business in all of our communities for what they do every day, every business on our high street, in industrial estates, in the rural economy, for those self-employed and those taking a chance, so that others can be employed, that sectors can grow and families are importantly supported. Many businesses in Mid-Sussex District, the Wealdon District and the Lewis District also are hidden. They are family businesses, they are start-ups in back bedrooms, they are future dreams, they are more opportunities, and they are, above all, a way to connect our communities to a thriving local economy and an investment in our future and giving truly opportunity for all. And in fact, very shortly I'll be hosting my Taste of East Grinstead and Uckfield constituency event in the House of Commons, a follow-up to my most recent business breakfast at the Highlands in Uckfield, and I'm sure many other MPs will be showcasing their businesses and working with them in this way. So, despite lingering COVID shocks and the devastating war in Ukraine, inflation reached 2% by May and economic growth rebounded strongly, reaching 0.5% in Q2, and our dominant services sector growing by 1.5% in the same quarter. Key to delivering economic growth is, of course, inspiring confidence, the so-called animal spirits of the oft-remembered words of John Maynard Keynes. And it is vital, a prerequisite for this aim. Indicators suggest confidence was growing in the first half of this year. Like many things, the new Labour government has failed to live up to its own hype, let alone the aspirations of millions of working people or businesses who do create those jobs and opportunities all across our land. And I do welcome the International Investment Summit, the £63 billion raised through that investment summit. But I do remind the House almost half of this investment was already announced by the Conservative government previously, and may I warn the Minister the danger of double counting when it comes to this. In a little over 100 days, the Institute of Directors' Economic Confidence Index, however, though, has fallen to -38, the lowest since December 2022. And the same index points out business investment intentions showing the sharpest drop since the onset of the pandemic, +24 in July and now -6 come September, the lowest since September 2022. And the CBI trends have shown manufacturers through output output would fall over the next year, -7 compared to +9 in August 24. And the latest Purchase Manager Index for the services sector is also, I'm afraid, heading in the wrong direction, showing our economic recovery is somewhat running out of steam under this new government. So what is the cause of this reversal? IOD members cite ongoing concerns over tax changes and the cost of new Labour reforms. The British Chamber of Commerce refer to, in particular, on the domestic front, I quote, many businesses are increasingly anxious about the direction of economic policy, and taxation has become a primary concern. Concern over tax is now the biggest single concern for business leaders. A survey undertaken by the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales cites tax being the chief concern, the highest on the survey ever. And given the mood music emanating from the top of government, how can this be anything other than a surprise? Both the Chancellor and the Prime Minister have repeatedly warned further taxes are coming. A hard winter, not just only for the pensioners, but for business, because they have repeatedly refused to tell us where. We heard clearly at the dispatch box just this last week. Now, this is a result of a single structural decision to delay the budget until October and allowing rumours to simply replace this. Already, this is changing businesses' behaviour. A survey by Eveling Partners shows 29% of business owners are looking to sell, whilst hard data shows the Treasury pocketing the highest level of capital gains tax in 15 years as investors head Minister to the exit door. This is hardly a recipe for growth, let alone stability, which the Labour Party promised our constituents. And just last week in PMQs, the Prime Minister and recently on the media refused to rule out a rise in the national insurance employer national insurance. I remind members present, honourable members, here that the Labour manifesto was clear. Labour will not increase taxes on working people, which is why we will not increase national insurance, creating a falling away of job vacancies. And may I remind the Minister and his government that local small business owners are clearly working people. This is a pure jobs tax. So now Labour's position, it seems to be taxing working people is bad, but taxing their jobs is good. No wonder businesses are confused and concerned. One local agricultural business wrote to me from my constituency. I hear dark stories about the forthcoming budget and the possibility that the financial support for the agricultural sector of the economy is likely to be reduced or even slashed. If that were to happen, the viability of my family's enterprise would be at risk, and the livelihoods of between 20 and 30 local families would be threatened. Our business is focused on producing milk, grain, timber for the nation, and on caring for the environment in which we live and operate. And I'm sure that other members here will be bringing similar concerns from their own constituencies to this place and reporting similar. I will, to the Honourable Lady. Right Honourable Lady.
Thank you for giving way, and I congratulate her on bringing this very important and timely debate. And just to say really that many farmers in my constituency of Maidstone and Malling are having a very, very tough time in a similar way to the farmers are having in her own constituency. And I believe that business confidence for many is pretty much at an all-time low. And does she agree with me that reducing red tape, regulation, bureaucracy, endless reporting, and having a slightly more light touch approach in terms of planning, rediversification of farms, could boost business confidence and inspire and motivate farmers?
I thank my right honourable friend, the Honourable Lady. Absolutely right. I've had these conversations with my own district in Mid-Sussex about supporting diversification in the rural economy. If things were changing on the high street, they would be supported. If they are in a rural business, they are blocked. And I absolutely agree with the Honourable Lady, and I hope the Minister is listening. It seems his party are not here to listen, and I do thank some of the other parties who are keenly supporting their own constituents too. As I say, this is hardly a recipe for growth, let alone stability. I must say, my own South of England showground in Ardingly, the farming conference is coming up shortly, and this will be vital to business. And actually, sponsorship and support of that has been absolutely key, and gives me the opportunity to say good luck to Fallow Meadow, a new event space in West Hoathly, a family business in my own constituency, another rural business taking a chance to diversify and try to keep their family farms supported. I will to the very honourable gentleman.
Not very honourable, I'm just honourable to you. Okay, thanks so much. Can I just say thank the Honourable Lady very much for her contribution for setting the scene so very well. Does the Honourable Lady agree that small businesses are the backbone of our community? They certainly are my constituency, and yet have the hardest hit post-COVID recovery that has not been easy. With the cost of living increasing, small businesses are finding it increasingly difficult to stay competitive with the online monster. Does the Honourable Lady not agree that confidence can only come when government is working hard, and this is to the Minister, in hand to regulate and tax online businesses effectively and support all businesses in this new tech age, so the ones that have been there forever can still be there for the future?
I thank the honourable gentleman for, again, his intervention on his community and on the local economy in Northern Ireland, which matters so much. These are people stridently working to make wages every week, not only for themselves, but for their sectors and families and communities. And I agree with the online challenge. It's gargantuan and absolutely right that we look to future-proof many of these businesses that have been going for decades. It's very difficult to start a business, let alone maintain a business, and if we let businesses fail because we don't support them for the future, then we will look back in real horror. So I thank the honourable gentleman for his intervention. The employment package announced last week, already senior businesses are warning this will limit investment, reduce growth and jobs in years to come, let alone thinking about small businesses as well. Of particular concern is the cost imposed on small businesses. Leading the charge on this, the FSB, warning that small businesses will be looking at these changes with trepidation. The government has only managed just to meet its self-imposed target of 100 days, where indeed it's left 70 measures for 2026 to come in, meaning that the uncertainty for these businesses is going to carry on. This is a real concern. And the chaos of the comments that ministers have caused to businesses over the last few weeks. First, the Leader of the House stating a real risk of a run on the pound if we do not support our pensioners with winter fuel. In the meantime, the Prime Minister had to disavow comments made by a member of the Cabinet stating that the Transport Secretary did not speak for the government. May I say to the government, you are government ministers, you speak for not only your department, for industry and sectors, and they would do learn well to stop walking around with placards and remember that they are allegedly running the country. Now, I appreciate the Prime Minister is new, and collective responsibility for the ministers is a cornerstone to Cabinet government, and I'm sure the Minister opposite will be working diligently to do what he can to support this. And I too have been a minister for a number of years, as employment minister during the COVID years, and know how difficult it is. And I do genuinely, I think we all do, genuinely wish them well, because by holding this debate today, by being really honest on behalf of businesses and our constituents about the concerns, that they've been aired, that they've been heard, that the national interest demands that government get a grip so that they can unleash the investment through the summit, spur that economic growth, deliver those local jobs and live up to the promises they've made to the British people. Otherwise, we're in for a very long and costly 5 years. May I ask the Minister in closing to reassure my businesses, our communities, that they truly understand understand the impact of instability, and ask what action the government will take in regard, for example, to Crawley College, which unfortunately is shutting down engineering places as we strive for this new future, which concerns me because many of my businesses in East Grinstead and beyond need these engineering and apprenticeship places to support their future. So that in the work that they're doing, they are truly working cross-government to make sure these next 5 years are a success for all our communities and constituencies, so that we have the public services and the local economies that we all strive to and aspire to. Thank you.